Okay, if you work with reclaimed wood or spend a lot of time trying to make new wood look like old wood, this is one of the best tools you can buy. It comes with a huge range of heads that you can put in it for cleaning up the old wood or for adding texture and character to new wood to make it look like old wood. And really quickly, I'll show you how they all work. Now these heads will range in aggressiveness from something like this braided steel cable to a wire brush to a nylon brush, different sandpapers, and all the way down to fine nylon brushes and even polishing pads. Now this is the braided cable one. It's the most aggressive. Let's throw it in and see what it does. Okay, and you can see that's a really aggressive head. So it really goes down deep and tears out fibers and puts grooves in the boards. Now this would only be stage one for both of these, and I'll show you with the other heads how I would clean these up afterwards. Now we'll move on to the next most aggressive, which is this wire wheel. Now you can see here it does a really nice job of cleaning up, taking out all the loose splinters and carving out some of the soft fibers. Just not quite as aggressive as the first one and leaves a bit of a cleaner surface. And the same thing on the new wood, it goes down and rips out the soft fibers and makes these lines in the boards. Now this is one of the nylon brushes, which is the last one that I would use in this initial phase, which is either the cleanup of the reclaimed wood or adding character to the new wood. Okay, and here are all three cleanup brushes. The first one, really aggressive, makes a bunch of grooves. The second one, less so, and a bit of a cleaner finish. And then the nylon brush, which is sort of half aggressive and half polishing. And same thing on the new lumber, really aggressive, wire brush, and just the nylon brush. And in this case, all it's doing is tearing out some soft fibers and giving it kind of that wind-blown effect. And now as sort of a second and possibly third step, I would use one of or a combination of these to get the boards looking exactly like I want them to. Now that the boards have been cleaned up and there's a bunch of grooves and stuff in them, I want to use sort of a lower grit sandpaper and get down into those grooves and clean them out and make them look like they've been around for a couple hundred years. The one I probably use the most is this flapper sander. It has all these little individual kind of finger pieces of sandpaper, and they do a great job at getting down in those cracks and sanding them out. And one of the really cool things about the Restorer is that they turn and sand in line with the grain, as opposed to a belt sander or a random orbital sander that just sand down the high spots and don't really get down into the low spots. The second one, and depending on the wood and how much character is in it, I'll use this flapper sander, which is similar to this one, other than they're packed a whole lot tighter and they have flat tops on them instead of the round tops on these ones. And then if I really want to polish them and buff them after that, I'll use one of these nylon brush wheels. They do a really good job of kind of polishing the wood and really helping the character to show up in the sunlight. And for this type of really aged board with a lot of grooves and stuff in it like that, I'm going to use this profile sander to clean it up. And then I'm also going to use the profile sander to clean up this one as well as the second one. But where I did the nylon brush, I don't really need to use it anymore. Okay, now you can see this first one. It's really cleaned up all those fibers that were sticking out. And now we've got those nice deep grooves. This was the wire brush. You can see that I didn't go down quite as deep. This one kind of tore all that top off as well. So now you kind of have a lot of this gray still up top. And again, it's got those grooves in it. And now it's nice and cleaned up because of the sandpaper. And now this was the nylon brush, and the sandpaper here just kind of buffed it out and cleaned it up quite a bit more, and you're left with that level of character. And for reference, remember, this is what we started with here. Really kind of dirty old wood. And now on the new wood here, you can see where all those fibers were sticking up and it was kind of a mess. It's cleaned those all up. Well, I guess I could do it a bit more. You can still see some of them there. And anyways, makes it look a whole lot better and starting to look a lot more like old weathered wood. And where I used the wire brush, you can see it also just kind of cleaned that up and helped to buff out and clean up any leftover soft fibers. Okay, and now to clean up this new wood just a little bit more, where I started with the aggressive brush and then I used the profile sander, I'm now going to use this nylon brush, which will go down and do a final cleanup and get rid of a lot of these soft fibers and anything else left over. And there you go, that cleaned up all the rest of those soft fibers that were sticking up. And you can see those nice ridges that catch the sunlight and are kind of one of the main characteristics of reclaimed wood. Now, it's been my experience that different types of wood, different ages of wood, different hardnesses of wood require a different combination of these brushes to get the end effect that I want. And so it's good to get a range of brushes and then start with one that's less aggressive than what you think you might need, so you don't just tear away all the character off the top of the wood. And then you can slowly approach that level that gives you the right amount of character and the right finish for the boards you're working with. Sometimes all you need is a flapper sander. Other times you'll need the nylon wheel and maybe one of the profile sanders if you don't have really deep grooves in your boards. But that's one of the reasons why I say this is such a good tool to have if you're working with reclaimed wood, is that you can use all these different heads in just the one tool, giving you a lot of options and flexibility in how you clean and prep your wood.